Hi there, I'm Lee Brainerd. Welcome to Soothkeep. Today I would like to encourage your hearts with another Rapture Nugget. Today we're going to look at the streets of gold in New Jerusalem. And we're going to start by looking at Revelation chapter 21, beginning in verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. Drop down to verse 18. And the construction material of the wall was jasper. And the city was pure gold, like clear glass. And the foundations of the wall were adorned with every kind of precious stone. Drop down to verse 21. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every gate was a single pearl. And the main Broadway, or the main thoroughfare of the city, was pure gold, like transparent glass. Now, the streets of gold is a common message in contemporary Christianity and music, and it ought to be. This city is an amazing city, given to us by an amazing God who wants his children to have an amazing eternity. But the message here on this city is 10 times deeper than most people could possibly imagine. Now, my first thought that I want to take up is the streets of pure gold, and I have a couple trains of thought based on this thought. First of all, our Father has unlimited wealth. Think about it. If an earthly father can afford things like gold-plated sinks and gold-plated tubs and gold-plated watches, then it's reasonable for his children to think that he can afford to give them good gifts too, maybe even expensive gifts, whether they need them or desire them. In contrast, though, we have a Father in heaven who has paved the streets of New Jerusalem with pure gold. And this is a broad street that's hundreds of miles long. And he's paved it pavement deep, pavement thickness deep. This isn't electroplating. This means that every mile of this city contains more gold than all the gold that's been mined in the entire history of the planet. And this means that your Father in heaven has so much wealth that you're never going to be able to max out his credit card or drain his bank account or put him at financial risk. He has unlimited wealth, wealth so vast that you're going to fry your think-a-later if you try and comprehend it. Now, my second thought concerns the transparent like glass idea. Now, some opine that this is transparent gold because the gold that we have down here on earth has its color from impurities. I don't believe this is correct. Our gold has its gold color because that's the native color of gold as far as the variety of gold that we have on earth is concerned. Now, with this mention of gold that's as clear as glass, we're given a glimpse into a vast, insanely magnificent universe whose variety far exceeds the breadth and depth of any variety that we can possibly imagine. It's 1,000,000 times beyond what we've seen here on Earth. And somewhere in this galaxy, gold is found in a variety or in a form that's crystal clear like glass. And this variety or distinction comes from differences on the subatomic level. Now, the scientists and inventors in eternity are going to have a heyday finding uses for glass that's crystal clear. Can you imagine coating a windshield with a thin coat of crystal clear gold? Not only would this allow the entire windshield to be heated in every square millimeter of the windshield, rather than having a few wires through the windshield that slowly spread their heat out through the glass. And on top of that, that thin layer of gold on the exterior of the windshield would protect it from sand and grit and pebbles and stones. Now, the presence of crystal clear gold in the New Jerusalem implies that there's other varieties and colors of gold in the vastness of this galaxy also. And these different colors and variations are not going to merely be from impurities, for instance, like Black Hills gold, which has a kind of a rose color due to an impurity of copper. This is going to be native coloration on the subatomic level. Can you imagine the uses for pitch black gold, for red gold, for blue gold, for green gold? I can imagine myself using fishing spoons, or a small fishing spoon that's heavy enough that it sinks very deep in the water, 3, 4, 5 times deeper than the little metal fishing spoons that we use now. And the color on the fishing spoon wouldn't chip or fade because the whole spoon is made of gold. And the color is intrinsic to the gold. So the color won't chip off and it won't fade. I'll bet I have the attention of all the fishermen about now. But let's move on to the kitchen uses. If you have gold in various colors, you can have gold fry pans and gold pots that are solid gold in any color variation you please. And these pots and pans are going to have perfect heat conduction. At any rate, you can go from here and you can extrapolate in 100 or 1,000 different directions. Let's move on to the fact that every gate is one single pearl. Now, I suspect that this is not an immediate creation miracle. God typically uses second causes wherever and whenever in his creation that he can. And this means that somewhere in our galaxy or a nearby galaxy, there is massive seas with massive oysters or some other massive creatures that produce pearls, that have pearls large enough that you can carve a single massive city gate out of one pearl. Now, wrap your puny mind around this idea. Now, while you're trying to do that, let's throw even more mind-bending facts into the picture. Using your God-given imagination on this God-given seed thought, let's extrapolate. In eternity, there's going to be insane sources of things like ivory and amber and antler and horn in sizes and colors and variety that we cannot hardly imagine. On top of this, there's going to be 1,000 other substances from animals and plants that are carvable and workable, that are going to be far beyond what we can think or imagine, far beyond what we've seen in this earth. And just to take one little rabbit trail so you can get an idea of how far this is going to extend in every direction in creation in eternity. For those who love to knit, there's going to be an insane variety of animal wool in its textures, in its qualities, and in its colors. The knitters are going to be in knitting heaven. Well, let's move on to every kind of precious stone. The walls, as it mentioned here, are with 12 varieties of massive blocks of precious stones. Can you imagine a block of ruby that's several feet thick and 10 or 12 feet long and 4 or 5 or 6 feet high? Can you imagine a block of sapphire that's that size, or twice that size, or 4 times that size? The walls of New Jerusalem are going to contain millions of blocks of precious stones in insane size. Now, let's revisit my thought on second causes. Somewhere in our galaxy are deposits of precious stones that are vast deposits, like the deposits of granite and diorite and limestone and marble that we have here on Earth. And we get to exploit these sources of precious stones. On top of that, scientists suspect that some of the suns have at its core a single massive diamond that's larger than the planet Jupiter. This is a mind-blowing thought. The fact is, this galaxy that we live in is a stone worker's heaven. It's a stone worker's delight. Can you imagine turning plates and bowls out of like amethyst or garnet or agate or topaz or amethyst or turquoise? Can you imagine the possibilities for those who are stonemasons and artists and sculptors? Think of the implications and applications for inventors and scientists. How about the applications for the outdoorsman? Can you imagine casting a big red eye spoon and the little red eyes are actually real rubies? Or how about having the eyelets of your hunting boots and hiking boots can be any color and variety of precious stone that you please? Well, in conclusion, you are going to enjoy insane, infinite wealth in eternity, no matter what your areas of interest are. This isn't going to be an artificial wealth that comes about through an artificial economic system. This is going to be real wealth, tangible wealth, real stuff that you can hold in your hands and use, stuff given to you by the greatest dad in the universe. This stuff is going to come in an amazing variety and kind and degree that you cannot possibly wrap your mind around. So take heart and keep looking up, because you are not poor. You are just waiting for your inheritance at the rapture. Eyes wide open, brain engaged, heart on fire. We'll see you next time.